The race you're now in is to be the president of the IOC. It's March the 18th to the 21st is the actual election. It's a secret ballot. I think is it 100 members?
Yeah, about 111, yeah.
I mean, A, what do you think your chances are? And B, what is your sort of final message to them if they watch this interview as to why it should be you?
Well, the final message is I hope you've gathered from everything I've said that I think I've done within my life those jobs, those responsibilities, delivering an Olympic Games, Paralympic Games, chairing an organising committee, you know, being active in the sport as a competitor and president of, you know, a centre. And my political background, I'm hoping that people think I have the competence to do that. But I want to go further than that. This is not a job for me. This is an absolute passion. I think I can make a difference. And look, you know, we all have strengths and weaknesses. I know that one of my strengths is the ability to build teams and take people with me. So, look, it's ultimately up to the membership. I think we've got some massive challenges ahead. I think they're geopolitical. I think they're commercial. I think you get this again in a heartbeat, just the changing nature of broadcast, our ability to really continue to engage with young people and want them to fashion their futures through sport, because it goes way, way beyond the medals table and you know, the field of play. It's a lifelong commitment. And those are the things that I think I've really understood. And I've come from a background where, you know, everything I've done has had an Olympic or a sporting background. And I'm very proud to be able to say that.
And you're used to winning, but one of the very few people who just struck me who beat you was Steve Ovett in the greatest rivalry of all time. It just struck me. But do you still, are you mates? Do you hang out?
Yes, we are. He lives in Australia. He hasn't been in the UK for a long time, but it was a rivalry that we probably didn't ever, we were very cautious about what we said publicly about each other. But there was a moment of candour a few years ago. I was actually babysitting one of his kids while he was commentating in the Commonwealth Games. And I said to him, we were having supper afterwards, and his son, Freddie, who was actually running for Australia, was asking questions, what's it like to run against my dad? You know, and I said, look, your dad was one of the most naturally talented athletes I ever met. But I said, look, Steve was at the table. I said, Steve, I'll admit something to you, that on Christmas Day, 1979, the year before the Games, I was in Sheffield. It was a Wagnerian winter. The snow was coming down. I'm sounding a bit like the three Yorkshiremen out of Monty Python. I'm trying hard not to. And I ran that morning about 13 or 14 miles in horrendous conditions. And during the afternoon with the, I don't know, the 900th rerun of The Sound of Music or Dam Busters, I felt uneasy. I couldn't figure out what it was. And I suddenly sat there thinking, I bet he's out doing another training session. So completely obsessionally, I went up to my room, put my kit on, and just went out and ran another 5 miles, came back and felt really good. And I told him that story. This is years later. And he looked at me and he went, did you only go out twice that day? 35 years later. We're still scoring points off each other, but he was an outstanding athlete.
That's great, great.